Hello dear students, welcome to my English class. Today I am going to discuss the first poem from your Flamingo, My Mother at 66. My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. Kamala Das is an Indian poet writing in English. She hails from West Bengal and her poems are basically related to personality. External factors, however, do not reflect in her writings. Her writings bring out her true inner feelings. In this poem, she relates a personal experience about her mother. She talks about her own mother, so the poem becomes a personal one, but at the same time, it also has got a universal appeal, because whatever is true about her mother here in this poem is also applicable to all the human beings. Here we will find she has dealt with a universal theme, which is aging. Aging is a natural process. No one can escape it. A human being passes through different stages of a life. For example, the childhood period, the youth, and then the old age, and of course finally the death. Now the poem brings about this truth, how her mother became old and how her childhood fear of old age and death was revived when she looked at her mother's face. So without further delay, now let's move on to the poem. The text of the poem. Driving from my parents' home to coaching last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doors open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. But soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. Now up to this, let's see. One day, the poet was driving from her home to the Cochin airport. You see, Cochin airport one Friday morning, and when she was driving in her car, she saw her mother sleeping beside her. Doze means sleeping. Doze means sleep, open-mouthed. She was sleeping. Her mother, who was an extremely old lady, was sleeping just by her side with her mouth wide open. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. You see, when she was sleeping, her face was ashen like that of a corpse. Corpse means dead body. Ashen means faded, extremely worn out, freshless, colorless, without any energy, like a corpse, like a dead body. Our mother's face has been compared to the face of a dead body here. So the poet here makes use of a simile. A simile, which is a comparison between two different things. So with these figures of speech, the poet has compared that her mother's face became the face like that of a corpse, but soon put that thought away. Soon put that thought away and looked at young trees sprinting. Young trees sprinting. Young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. Now this is important. This is an image, the use of striking words. The poet, of course, was filled with some negative thoughts when she thought about her mother's old days, and she also was very much afraid of her mother's approaching death. But in order to drive her negative feelings, she shifts her thoughts to the outside world, which was one of full of energy, vitality. So young trees sprinting, merry children spilling, represents a world which is full of vigor and energy. Here we'll find a contrast drawn by the poet in order to show that our young days and our old days are different in many ways. Young days is full of energy and vitality, whereas in our old days we lack freshness, we lack energy, we become very inactive. So this is what the poet wants to show in this image. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards, let's move on to the next page. Standing a few yards away, I looked again at her wan pale face. So wan means again faded. They now reached the airport, Cochin airport, and there was a security check there in the airport. The poet again, when before she got separated from her mother, looked at her mother's wan, pale face. And as a late winter's moon, again an important simile, she found that her mother's face was like the late winter's moon and felt that old familiar ache. Ache means pain. My childhood fear. My childhood fear. What was the poet's childhood fear? The poet had a fear for old days, and that fear was there very much in her mind right from her childhood. But once she looked at her mother's old face inside the car and at the security airport also, that fear was revived in her mind. Late winter's moon. Why does the poet use this late winter's moon? Because the poet's mother's face lacked freshness and brightness like the late winter's moon. Now winter is the last season of the year, and during the winter season the moon also lacks freshness and brightness. Similarly, the poet's mother's face also lacked brightness, color and energy and vitality. So the comparison is with the late winter's moon. So as a late winter's moon and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma, and all I did was smile and smile and smile. Now look at the last few words. The poet was of course deeply pained at heart when she came to know that her mother was extremely old. Her mother has grown extremely old, and maybe she is going to die very soon, because after old days naturally people feel very weak and they die very soon also. But she didn't want to show her real emotions. She hid her sadness at the separation from her mother, or sadness caused when she knew her mother's whole face was going to cause her death. But she showed that she was happy and she was enjoying her life, and she wanted that her mother should also enjoy her life and she should also feel happy. So she said, all I did was smile and smile and smile. So the poet ended the poem with a happy note. She didn't want to give a sad ending of the poem. So this is all about the poem, and I hope that you have understood, and in my next class I will discuss some questions and answers. Thank you.